This week in science, we focused on looking at gravity and how it affects matter, and we played around with things that balance. We found the center of mass of different things. Next week, we're going to look at the sun, which is the largest object in our solar system, has the most gravity and the most mass. And we're going to be looking at the light that the sun gives off and the entire electromagnetic spectrum. But we're going to focus primarily on visible light. And looking at the spectrum, we're going to use some homemade little viewers, and the kids look through this little hole at a light and they'll see the spectrum. And then we'll use the document camera and they'll be able to actually see how red and green light combine to make yellow. And we're not going to go into that too much, but just to understand that white light is made up of all the colors of the rainbow. And then we're going to talk about ultraviolet light in a couple of ways. One, we're going to do an experiment where we give the kids filters and color changing beads. And then what we'll do is we'll have them put the filters over a set of beads and take it outside and put it into the sunlight. And I have a black light here, so I'll just turn it on. And what you'll see is that if I put it under the black light, this one is a little bit bluer. Let me just put it for a little bit longer. This one is a little bluer than this one. And so this one is a much better filter than this piece of plastic. And even though they're both clear, this happens to be the kind of plastic you might put in front of a watercolor painting, you know, when you're framing a picture. So they'll be experimenting and trying to figure out which is the best filter. We will also be looking at ultraviolet light in a couple other ways. So let me tilt the camera so that you can see the black light. One thing we're going to do is we're going to look at flowers that I made, and when you put them under the black light, they look very different. And I don't know that it can show up here, but they're actually pretty spectacular once you put them under the black light. I also have some black light paint that I made, and you put it under there and you can see. So they'll be doing that, and they'll be given vials of this liquid. This is what I made the paint out of. It's actually highlighters, and I just popped the cap off, took out the tube that's in the inside, and put it in boiling water, like a cup of boiling water, maybe 2 highlighters per cup of boiling water. And then I got this liquid, and it just absolutely glows under the black light, and it looks green when you look at it up here. So it's really fun. So we're going to be looking at ultraviolet light. We're going to be looking at the spectrum. We're going to be talking a little bit about the mechanics of the sun, nuclear fusion in the center of the sun, and looking at the spectrum of light that the sun gives off. And then the following week, the lab is not yet planned, but we will be looking at how the Earth turns and how that affects shadows and time and things like that. So that's a preview. So this week is the sun and ultraviolet light.